So here we have an aquarium I created for my betta fish about 2 weeks ago, and next to it, a pretty boring plant storage tank. Now I've had an idea that I want to create another tank next to it in complete contrast to the betta fish tank for my Apistogramma Cacatuoides. So let's create an awesome scape for these fish right next to the betta tank. Now let's go for something completely opposite. So this one here has got grey rock, red plants, black background, white sand. Why don't we go for like brown rock, black sand, white background, all green plants? How good would that look? It'd be completely different. Everything would be completely different, and I think that'll look great, and it'll show off the Apistogramma as well, and the plants mean that it could be more sort of naturalistic for it. I mean, this betta here, it's not a natural environment for it, is it? But it seems to absolutely love it. It always goes in that little pocket down there, which I love seeing. It always comes out and greets me as well. Very friendly betta fish, this one. So I want to do something cool next to it. So we've got the really cool whole rack here that just looks great. So I'm thinking of just break down this tank, nice and easy to do because there's no water in it. So I like to store my plants now in like a dry setup with just a little bit of water at the bottom. It's way less maintenance, you see, because if you've got like a flooded tank that you've got just for plants, it's just even more work for yourself. It makes it harder. Like out here, for instance, this is my plant storage area, and the tanks down here, they just got left in the end because I just didn't have time. So drain those out, clean them up, both of those actually. This one's looking pretty good. That's got some algae on that's dying off, to be honest, because there's probably not enough nutrients for it. There's no filter flow, and see, it's just been left. So drain it all out, take the soil out, I can save the soil, and then I can just put all the plants in here the same way as in the other tank. Stop the press. Are we noticing anything different? I got a new hoodie. Look at this, new design, Cory design. Some of you guys said, if you put thick on a hoodie with a Cory, I'll buy it. And I thought, you know what, that's a good idea, so I've done it. These are so nice, guys. They're so thick. They actually are thick, and they're like cozy as hell. I mean, perfect for the winter time. Perfect to get yourself a Christmas present as well. I'm going to put a link above and link in the description, first comment, that kind of thing. Best way to support the channel is to buy some merch, as well as watch the videos, of course, as well. And maybe become a member as well for those sort of things. And by doing so, you can help support future projects. We've got loads more coming up. You're going to link above and take a look at the store, and you can get yourself a Cory hoodie. There we go, look, the water's out, the soil there is perfectly good just to use another time. So I'm going to scoop all that out and put it in a separate pot, and we'll use it in this scape actually that we're going to be creating in a minute. Okay, the tank is clean, well, as clean as a plant storage tank needs to be. Next job, we need to just take everything out, switch it across, put a bit of water in, and I can clean this all up. Wow, that's bright. Right, plant storage there, oh, that one's fallen over, I'll sort that out in a second. Plant storage sorted, but this bad boy is filthy, so let's clean it up in 3, 2, 1, go. There we go, that's like hours of work compressed into no time at all. That's okay, you're not here to watch me clean tanks. Right, first of all, we need nutrients in. I'm going for the bag and aqua soil sort of technique. It's working so well recently, I'm just going to give it another go. I didn't do it on that one, but I think I want to on this one, I don't know why. So our nutrient layer is in. This is going to provide all the nutrients to the plant roots. And even though the soil is in the bags, it doesn't matter. The roots still find their way in there. I mean, there's quite decent sized holes really, to be honest. Now, why am I doing this? Well, the reason I like to do it is so I can reuse that soil at any point. I can cover it up in sand now, and then if I want to change the scape, which I inevitably will at some point, as you guys know, I can just take the sand out, I've got soil separate from the sand, recycling stuff, reusing stuff, you know, that way I can keep the costs down and just keep enjoying the hobby, which is recreating things. That's just really what I like doing most. So next up, we want to cap all that now with some sand. Now, we used white sand in this one, didn't we? So we're going to go with black on that one. I could have just used aqua soil on its own, I guess, but it's not really like what I do. I don't do that. No. We need sand. And here is the substrate that we're using. I've absolutely no idea what that brand is or anything. I can't really show you at the moment. Let me just pour it in. So we've obviously got that tank leaning in this way, so why not make this one lean in that way? At the moment you can still see a little bit of the bags and that. That's not the final depth of sand, obviously we need more than that to plant into, but I want to start laying in some rocks and give it some structure, and then we can build up the sand around that. There's no point just putting in loads now and then there'll be too much with the rocks. You know, I'd rather use that as a base to create a shape and then build around it with, you know, detailed gravel, more sand, that kind of thing. And the rocks that we're going to be using are these bad boys down here amongst my plug sockets. Yeah, so this is Dragonstone. I've got quite a lot of it here. Look, there's my hand for reference. I've got loads there and I've got loads there as well. No idea what yet, but we are going to have to give them a little bit of a rinse first. Actually, some of them seem alright. I'll just use the ones that are clean. Oh. So that is the basic base and height layout. If you have a look there, we're going for like sort of opposite of, but that is way too straight. So I need to just do something about that. Flip it around, move it, manipulate it, but whatever. We want that height, but we don't want straight lines sticking upwards. So the flow of those rocks is doing that, that and that. So I kind of want it coming up this way. Just keep playing with it until you get it right. This is really important because you can't go back after well, you can restart, which is always fun as well. But just try and get it right and go, yeah, I'm happy with that. Don't go, oh, that'll do. Never say that'll do at this stage. Like, you can, it's the easiest point just to keep making changes, isn't it? Because, you know, there's no mess, there's no water. And you just take your time, get it right. Right, I'm massively pleased with that. That looks fantastic, I think. So what I've tried to do is make it explode out from that corner. So it's kind of very 3D-ified. Is that a word? I don't know. Anyway, I've left all these little gaps and cracks and crevices everywhere because the Apistogramma will use those as caves. I might even add a little bit more of an overhang in that back area as well. But to be honest, they're only small, so it'd probably be fine, especially with the plants we're going to do. Left loads of space at the back there for planting as well. Look at all that. So yeah, really great start, nice and strong. Next up, a little bit of detail around the edges, but nothing too sort of stand out. I'm going to use black again, but larger black pebbles. It'll only be subtle, but I think the contrast between the two is going to look really good. Yeah, looking good. So usually you use like a similar stone to the main rock to do the detail, but this is completely different, isn't it? And you know, it doesn't look natural, but then does any of this look natural? I mean, that doesn't look natural. It's not really what we're going for these type of scapes. We're going for something kind of different and a bit exciting. Just hopefully at the end it will have a really good effect, especially the two side by side. Let me step back, see where we're at. Oh yeah, I put this pond snail in here. Doing great. So my Betta fish has got a little buddy. But yeah, let me step back. So, I mean, that is looking so good so far, isn't it? Got black, got the white, the contrast, and then that green's in there as well. Oh, can't wait. One thing I definitely need to do though is add depth here because, well, actually there's quite a lot there. I'll add a little bit more just to make it easier. Yeah, that area is a little bit shallower. We just want a good, you need about that much, yeah, to plant into. And the gravel actually, well, it's coarse sand, fine gravel, isn't it? But that is going to be so easy to plant into. It's going to grip the plants nicely, especially if we've got a decent sort of layer of it. So yeah, about that much is perfect. So that's the structure of the scape sorted. It's now time to make it come alive, and you know, plants do that, doesn't it? For me, it's not a tank without plants. I know some people do like hardscape only tanks. Tried them before myself, not a fan. So like before, I'm gonna go quite stem heavy, but obviously we've got all the oranges, the reds, that sort of thing. So I'm gonna go proper green on this one. Lots of stems in that looping area. And again, just like I did here, I find that these little sort of bunches of stems in little areas look really good, really authentic. Is that the right word? I don't know, points of interest anyway. So I'm going to do the same on this one. I've actually got a good amount to plant into as well, and just keep that look going, because I think it just works, doesn't it? It looks so good. So to start with, I'm going to go epiphyte heavy all around the sort of edges and in some of the cracks. Not all of them, because we want some space for the fish to be able to swim in and out of. Now, epiphytes are just like plants that attach to the deck, or you don't plant them in the soil, or the gravel in this case. So yeah, just on the borders. I think they look really good in this one. A little bit of Trident Fern as well. Small tank, so Trident Fern will do nicely. It won't look oversized. And then we can go stems explosion. And right here, we've got a really good example actually. So I've got some Bucephalandra and some Anubias. That's not petite, I don't think. That's petite, yeah, next to it, right there. But this one, look, is attached to the rock with a little bit of the cyanoacrylate super glue gel. Stuff is completely inert, safe for fish, safe for plants, safe for shrimp as well. It just goes into a hard plastic pretty much as soon as it comes in contact with the water. This one here though, this Anubias petite, there's nothing on it, so I'm just going to attach a rock to the bottom of that one. It just keeps it weighted down, plus you can take it in and out of the water as you please, move it around, clean some algae off. Yeah, it's just a really good way of making these plants so that you can put them wherever you want. I love the ability to be able to do that and move them around at a later date. Oh, we're looking good. Now, before I go any further, I want to put the filter in. Now, the reason I'm doing it now, instead of like when the water's in, with this one here, oh, that's a bit bright. With this one here, it was fine to put it in at the end because it's black and it, you know, blends into the background on that side. But with this one, I want to put it already here so that we can use the plants to cover it up, and then you won't see it as an eyesore on that side, and it'll just gently sort of push the plants that direction, the stems. You don't want it blasting them because it will just make them grow funny, and they'll look horrible. So I'll make sure I'll have it pointed slightly away from the stems, and I'll reduce the flow as well, because this is the filter it's this one here that I use. I'll leave a link to it. It's a really good little filter, to be honest. It's silent and it works. It does the job well. Like, I don't feel like I need any more than that. See, because most of my tanks have such a good substrate layer that a lot of the biological filtration is happening in there. And, you know, they've got the plants as well. So that's why I can get away with these smaller sort of filters. And it's just better, in my opinion. I just love having filters inside the tank. It means when I do a water change, I switch the plug off, take out the sponge, give it a squeeze out in the water I've taken out usually, and yeah, and then it's straight back in again. I keep up on the maintenance regularly, whereas if I have hang on the backs and canisters, I just forget about them. That's just me though. You might not be the same. You might love a hang on the back. For me, I love these little internal ones. So I'm going to stick it on this corner. Right, that's perfect. Now when we start planting our stem plants in and we start closest to the rock and work our way back, that way it all sort of lifts up right when you fill it up with water. You're not even going to be able to see that, well, barely anyway, especially once I let it grow in, forget to trim it, and it all just goes crazy. Right, stems in now. So that's the Rotala green in. I put it just in front of the full background plants. That's because they're not as fast growing as the Limnophilia that I've got here. So I've separated it out, look, into sizes. We've got shortest to longest. Shortest at the front, obviously, or further forwards. Biggest ones at the back. They'll sort of touch the surface and loop over slightly as well, so that'll look awesome. Okay, cool, now we can fill it up, see how it's sitting, trim some, add some more, all of that. It's hard to tap anything at this stage, so just get it filled up. So the Dragonstone has sort of left this horrible, muddy, scummy bit on the surface. I'm just going to stick this little surface skimmer in there. That'll clean all that off like nicely without disturbing it, putting it all back into the water column. And then I think I'm going to add more plants as well. There's nowhere near enough there. We want more in that background area. And they're looking less green than they could be, and I think that's just because they're covered in air bubbles at the moment, but as time goes by it's going to look so much better. I'm going to add a lot more, I think. Now some of you say I overplant my tanks. Now my defense for that is, well, I haven't got one, I just do. But in fairness, it does give us the best possible start. It just means that everything will work out so much better for the tank, especially in these early stages, and I just think it looks so much better. Right, that's the surface all clean. Now we can switch the filter on and get that water crystal clear. Right, I've been out, had some lunch, look at that. Tank is crystal clear. So I want to add in some more plants for sure. I want to put some ferns in now. I've waited till now because I completely forgot before. Don't tell anyone. Yeah, let's put Trident Ferns in some of the areas here, and then even more stems at the back, so we get a proper triangular composition, but it will still be able for the fish to swim in and out of as well. God, the whole time we're doing this, he's just watching me and looking absolutely stunning. Don't worry, you'll have some friends to harass soon. Maybe I'll need to cover up the gap in the middle. No, I'm sure they'll be fine. I'll keep an eye on it though, just to make sure. And the same as before, I've attached the trident to a little pebble, so we can just put it straight in. It'll stay sunk. It won't just keep moving around either until we want it to. There we are, we're looking good. You see how we needed that darker shade of green contrasting against the background stems? Without that, it looks a bit weird because there's no transition from the darker foreground Anubias straight to it. It just looks like two different sections, and now it sort of blends. Do you know what I'm saying? I also want to bring in some focal points in the foreground here, just in that edge bit there. I want some Blixer japonica. It looks so good. I've got a few spare bits that I just want to place there, maybe one here and maybe one there. A few little focal points, and then leave the rest completely bare. It's looking good so far. So the tank's done, it's ready to go. All we've got to do now is put the fish in. I mean, I'm gonna have to try and catch them first, and these guys are gonna be impossible to get in that little tank without removing everything. I tried before with the blue Aquarius. It's not happening, just take everything out. And as mentioned before, guys, that temperature will be the same as that temperature because I heat the whole room. It's much more efficient that way. So yeah, guys, get ready for your new home. Oh, that is a mess. But there we go. Can easily be able to get them now. Oh Oh my goodness, they're looking so good, guys. Look, they've moved around this way already. Look at the colours on him. He's coloured up already. That's way, way more vibrant than I saw before. She seems to have better colours as well. It could be the fact that there's no sort of floating plants, which means that the light's actually penetrating through better. But look at this right in this corner they're moving over to. They're probably going to go in and make sort of like a little hiding place soon, I reckon. It would be awesome if we can get some breeding behaviour going on. That's what I really, really do want to see. Because if I can get some awesome, like, little Apistogramma babies out of these guys, I'll be really pleased. I managed to breed my Pistos before, the Hong Shloi, and we've got quite a few babies in the tank next to them. Here, look. So this is just a tank I'm using now to grow them out, feeding them regularly every day. It's not looking anything nice, to be honest, but it's doing the job nicely anyway. See, look, oh, they're getting to a half decent size now. I mean, look at that. Well, still tiny, aren't they? But yeah, if we can also down next to them get these guys breeding and get some babies, what an awesome sort of what result, you know? Because that's what I was trying to do. That's what I'm trying to achieve with this tank. God, they're down in the corner at the moment, but they're chilled out. But let's just move back for a second. Look at this, what we've got now. How good does that look? The two side by side. I think that might be thumbnail worthy as well, guys, isn't it? Look at that, looking good. I absolutely love it. And it's completely different looks as well, I think. You know, we've got a Betta fish over here. There he is, look. With all the reds and the darkness in the back. Switch it over, and that's a completely different look. But the two together, oddly enough, really do complement each other, I think. Let me know what you think. Is this a good result? I feel like it's a good result. Like, mission accomplished. Last thing we need now is to get some nice babies. Oh, female's moving out. Where you going, my love? Actually, looking at that little area right behind her there, that might be a really good spot to set up a little baby-making lair. Go on then, go in there. She'll find somewhere. There's loads of little cracks and crevices all the way around all this hardscape, so she's not going to struggle to find a place she feels comfortable in. It's just whether they're sort of compatible, I guess. She's starting to put on some size now. She was actually smaller than that when I first got her, and I've been feeding quite regularly, see, so hopefully soon we get those babies. So obviously as well, this is a whole new setup. There's no beneficial bacteria, although all those plants actually are being reused, so they would have been covered in beneficial bacteria as we put them in. Probably is enough, probably might not be. Anyway, as with all new setups, going to stick in some beneficial bacteria. I use quick start from an API. I've never lost a fish using it, so that's what I'm going to be using. It's not a sponsored post or anything, it's just that's what I use. And then also for the first week, I just like do daily water testing. To be honest, I do it longer than that, about 2 weeks, and I just do water changes as well. Now we've got quite a lot of plants in here, so you just keep an eye on things. I thoroughly recommend you get yourself a testing kit. You need to test for nitrite, nitrate and ammonia in the first week, and just make sure it's not going into toxic levels. Just do a water change anyway and you'll be absolutely fine. I like to do 50% every single day for the first week, and then I do like less than that every other day, moving on, and then just gradually sort of phasing it out, testing regularly, seeing that everything's okay. But yeah, beneficial bacteria, then we're just good to go.